Here. So remember how to do this. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Had to miss 2 streams last week, man. Allergies rolled up and just lay it to smack it down all over me, man. I couldn't barely talk. But we out here now. We back. Hopefully you guys had a good, profitable weekend of DFS, particularly the baseball variety. Shout out to the live chat. Dylan, Andy, Mike, Edwin, Dang Lazy Mofo, Jake, Shannon, Rob. Appreciate you guys being here. Today we got a 8-game slate. So a couple games that are happening prior to the main slate. I'm not here to cover those. Let me look at those. Tigers, Guardians, Rays, Orioles, Freeland, and Mitch Keller. That looks pretty tricky. Like, obviously, Shane McClanahan is easily the best pitcher on that slate, but, you know, me and my Orioles infatuation, no warm and fuzzy. So we'll focus on the main slate here. We do have the soft launch of the new MLB spreadsheet, which will display the 2023 numbers on the main page as well now, since we have about a month of baseball, over a month of baseball for most of our players. So we've also tightened the sample size of like the bomb detector, right? Before this weekend, the bomb detector was last 2 years plus this year. I've cut off the 2021 season. So now the bomb detector is going to be considering batted ball events from the beginning of last year to this year. And we did the same with the pitch report. The pitcher report will feature pitchers mixed this season, and then the hitters will be from the beginning of last season to have a bigger, broader sample size. What else? Any other changes? Otherwise, right now it's the same to navigate. Tonight, tomorrow, I'll be conjuring up hopefully a projection model, some baseline that we can copy and paste, upload to Cruncher, and then I really want to get. I was thinking about doing a tab where it's more like a live projection model, where as we're on the stream, I can project like pitch counts and stuff like that, put it in there. And then give us some pitcher projections as well. So be trying to code that out. I've started on that, but I definitely wanted to get this part out. So that's up there today. If you guys are RunDFS.com subscribers, for some reason when I went to edit the RunDFS page with the link, that page was freezing this morning. I'm gonna do it after the stream, but the new link is in the Discord. So if you are a member of RunDFS.com, go to the Discord and then click spreadsheet links. The new one's there, and then I'll have the link hopefully at the end of the stream on the page itself, right? What up, Melinda? What up, the bird? Turn around and you'll notice. What up, Austin? Your weekend was great. I profited in DFS, played with the kids in a big bounce house for my nephew's 3rd birthday. Nice. I haven't been in a bounce house. Possibly ever. Not playing hard and kept me from taking down NBA yesterday. Dang. All right, let's do some research. I guess we'll start with 2 things. One, stream brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you want to get access to that spreadsheet, go to VIP memberships, grab a membership, week pass, 2-week pass, month pass, season pass, and year passes. All that stuff still comes with a credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. And then let's do some weather research. We'll go to rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB. If you guys don't have this bookmarked yet, you probably should. We'll put a link in chat. Give it to me straight, gun. I'm down 52K lifetime. Is it time for me to find a new profession? Man, lifetime is a long time, right? Do you have profitable months? If you have a passion for this, like I wouldn't say quit, but 50. I know people who've had like 100K down months, but obviously their bankroll is probably bigger than us. So I don't know, man. Either that or you're due. But if you're down that much lifetime, maybe reassess your process and see what you're doing wrong, what you can do better. But if you think it's a money pit and you're losing, then maybe quit. All right, so weather from Roth looks like a pretty quiet night. Early slate, and then St. Louis to Chicago. This one's on the main slate. A lot of rain this afternoon, near 0 rain this evening. My only concern here is whether or not the field would be in playable shape. I'm going to assume yes until I see or hear otherwise. All right, so that's not insignificant, something to keep in mind. Let's go to the Chicago game. Slap a little yellow rooski on here. My mouth just got dry. Big on the Lakers tonight. You know what I saw this morning? I was on TikTok while trying to fall asleep. Was a dog. It was like a porgy, or is that what they called? At the top of a stairwell, and they had a Lakers net and a Warriors net, and the dog would hit. You throw a ball to the dog, and he would hit it into the basket, and he got the first 3 games right so far. So now I'm just hoping the dog gets it right. The dog got Lakers going up 3-1, and the Warriors won. I think that's what it was. So I'm just hoping that there's a prophetic dog that can predict basketball. And then maybe we could just reassess our process. You know, we're crunching numbers, wasting time. We should just be grabbing animals and making them do our work, right? Athletics play the Yankees today. Athletics lineup: Esteury Ruiz, Carlos Perez, Brent Rooker. Rooker, at last glance, had like the highest rating in the bomb detector today. This man's doing work. If they want to leave Rooker at Yankee Stadium, you know what I'm saying, and just like let the Yankees have him, I would probably be okay with that. Because it's a rough stretch. Yankees had a very ridiculous road stretch against the Rays, 3-game series, and it's a series they almost stole. Ironically, the most runs allowed came on the Garrett Cole start, which is just ridiculous, but it is what it is. Nestor Cortez taking on JP Sears. I want to say Sears might have been in Yankee farm hand, but I could be wrong. Sears with a 4.6 expected ERA this season, 4.49 last season, and Nestor Cortez a 3.27 expected ERA this season. His ERA severely higher than that. His Sierra 4.5. One thing about Nestor, his righty splits are something to kind of grit your teeth and bear. A 5.2 xFIP this season against righties, an aggregate 4+ the last couple seasons, and he has a tough time keeping the ball on the ground. What did I do wrong here? Hold on one second, chat. BEBP9. All right. BEBP9. I think I either had the wrong code or it turned ground ball percentage into a number. BEBP9. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not. Oh yeah, it went. Instead of percentages, it's rocking. So let's fix that. Format, number, percentage. That's more like it. There we go. Pills are good. 67% fly ball rate is not what you want. 31% hard contact rate. So Nestor Cortez, probably somebody that's going to rival one of the higher owned pitchers today. Maybe Marcus Stroman, Zach Gallen up there as well. They purposely skipped a spot in the rotation for Cortez to kind of reset to today. Didn't want him pitching against the Rays. Coming in at 43% owned, which is the highest on the slate. The Athletics so far this season, a little above average in WRC plus as a team. Full onslaught righties. This lineup, in terms of power against lefties, Kevin Smith, Brent Rooker project the best, and then I guess there is some. Why is everything going into? All right, we got to fix this too. The strikeout rates. Maybe that's why the bomb detector was like, hold up, what? There are some decent strikeout rates in this lane here, so I guess we'll have to be there. There's not a ton of upper echelon pitching. If we look at what's available, Gallen is probably the best individual pitcher on the slate. I guess Hunter Brown, tougher matchup. Logan Gilbert, Marcus Stroman are playable. It feels like 40% for Nestor is reaching like a little bit overvalued. But yeah, let me fix the strikeout rates. So this is going to be in the live data, WAN and CT. So live data. Soft launch. So let's scroll over to W. Outsoccer Nestor. Well, it looks like Nestor's going to be super chalk. And I don't think that's a great idea. Like, I would probably have some Nestor or some Ace stacks in my back pocket. What the freak is? Oh, W. Single letters. Duh. Fly ball. I don't know why all these percentages are starting to read as numbers. Is that right? Yep. And then we'll percentage on that. And then the same for hitter versus lefty. K percentage, walk percentage, line drive, blah, 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 blah. Text. All right, I might have to do this a few times as we see more and more issues, but that should be the bulk of it, right? Oh, the barrel percentages. Fudge. I wonder why I did that. It wasn't doing this on the master sheet. It just randomly started converting stuff. Yeah, look at this. I'm gonna have to come through here and text pitcher home. I might just read them as the percentages in my head and fix it aesthetically. It's not actually changing anything in the sheet. It's just aesthetically annoying, right? Hitter overall is what we want for our hitter stack cast. Where's that? Here we go. Barrel percentage. Here we go. All right, I'll try and just remember to do that most after, but it is an aesthetic nuisance. All right, so let's go with pitchers and then stacks. So I do think Nestor's one of the best 4 or 5 pre-flop options. I think that ownership scares me a little bit. I'll definitely have some athletics in my back pocket. Probably in the larger stuff, maybe even nominated for Substack. And then on the Yankees stack side, the Yankees have a 5-run total. And I know it's easy to poo-poo the Yankees' anemic offense, but man, the Athletics pitching has been awful. And backing up JP Sears is absolutely one of the, if not the worst bullpen in baseball. I know them and Kansas City were up there. So bad pitching or bad hitting beats bad pitching. And I still think there's 5 names I would get to, 1 through 5 specifically, and I might spin the wheel, make a deal on some guys in the bottom, including like Jose Trevino. So Yankees are certainly a stack we want to get to. So we type the Yankees up. I forgot to put that the worksheet tab in the spreadsheet, so I'm just gonna work out of a notepad. And then, out of curiosity, are the Yankees garnering a ton of interest or nah? Yeah, quite a bit. 3 players at 20%. Wow. All right, so we'll have to tread appropriately. We know the drill. If we want to play some Yankees, probably want to mix them in with some lower-owned guys, or forego like Nestor Cortez in those Yankee stacks, and that will be a big separator as well, since he's coming in at 40%, right? Run total for the Athletics 3.7. Look at the Yankees bullpen usage yesterday. Really, the last 3 days coming in from Tampa. Wow, they went deep. So Ian Hamilton might be available, maybe. I guess your guess is as good as mine. I would assume Michael King wouldn't be available today, throwing 24 yesterday. He's one of the better bullpen arms. Ian Hamilton probably available. And then 1. So if Nestor can't go deep here, this might be a real back end or front end situation. So I do think I get to some Athletics. Substack for sure. Against the lefty, Brent Rooker, like I said, one of the highest ratings in the bomb detector. And then Carlos Perez has a decent enough OPS I can get behind. That's probably on a shorter sample. Jesus Aguilar, give him a Yankee Stadium shot. Ramon Laureano. So I do like the idea of an athletic stack against a lefty and perhaps the shakier part of the bullpen. And I don't assume that they ever come with ownership, right? No, not at all. I'll take that. I think the A's are scrappier than people perceive. All right, let's get caught up on chat. Adding the dog to the bomb detector. A scale of Pol to Heinrich Himmler. Where would you rank Eric Hosmer? Heinrich, man. Is that like Tungsten Arms O'Doyle? I have no idea who that is. All right, let's move on to the next game. Cardinals woke up a little bit, and by Cardinals, I mean Paul Goldschmidt. what he had 3 homers yesterday. Good for him. Lars Nootbaar, Goldie, Nolan Gorman, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Brendan Donovan, Tommy Edman. There's shout out to Melinda. She told me that Marcus Stroman followed her on Twitter, so now she has to play him today. And I had to show her that the Stroman block that I received a couple years ago. So I have not been playing him as much because of that. I could definitely understand the notion of playing him today just because of how short pitching seems. We do need to be mindful that Kevin Roth said that it is raining pretty heavily in Chicago, so Wrigley might have a lot of water damage. I don't want to say water damage, but the field might be a little roughed up. But weather-wise, it should be clear in time. So if you do want to play either of these pitchers, you should be cleared to do so. Just keep an eye on any updates about the field. Miles Michaelis taking on Marcus Stroman this season. Michaelis over a 6 expected ERA, almost a 6 actual ERA, 11% barrel rate. Pretty much the opposite of what Stroman's been doing. Jesus, a 30% line drive rate. That's pretty crazy. And on Stroman's side, a 3.97 expected ERA, 55% ground ball rate to righties, 60+% to lefties. He's been really, really good. Is that a 13% walk rate? We have to fix that one again, chat. So AQ to BB. Let me look at his ownership after we go AQ. Let's go walk. Actually, let's just do that whole row right there, right? NK percentage. We'll go percent. Boom. I'm just gonna leave that off, and I'll keep going back and forth. So, yeah, 30% line drive rate to lefties for Michaelis. That's pretty crazy, but it's similar to both sides of the play, right? Let's fix that side as well. BE to BP. That is a ridiculous line drive rate, and the fact that he's got a couple games is kind of crazy. Let's go pull up Fangraphs, check that out, see what's going on with that. Michaelis. Maybe more familiar with Benito Mussolini or Joseph Stalin. Oh, okay. Those are world-renowned nice guys, aren't they? Always blocked by him. He's so soft. Yeah, he's probably one of the softer. Him and Trevor Bauer, probably two of the softer athletes on Twitter. Bauer's the more ironic one, right? Because he's always saying some dumb stuff or attacking people, but then you throw something at him and he's block centric. 64% first pitch strike for Mr. Michaelis, 8% swing and strike rate. xFIP. Last game was one of his better xFIPs. Looks like he had a rough stretch from Coors, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and San Francisco. Oreoed by a couple mid-threes on the xFIPs. And then, yeah, line drive rate is actually crazy. So, in baseball, barrels, hard hits, line drives, those are some of the harder outcomes to field, right? So line drive, I forget what the exit launch angle is for line drive, but you know what a line drive is right off the bat. So these are harder to field. So naturally, you're going to give up more hits. So if he's going to sustain a number like that, it makes sense that his average allowed is 330, essentially to both sides of the plate. I wonder what his BABIP is. 377. And yes, that's a little elevated, but I tell you what, in relations to his line drive rate, I mean, I think it's going to be above 300 just because people are squaring it up more, and his barrel rate is almost 11%. So it's a good spot for the Cardinals. And I think I was listening to it was a Cody Bellinger interview, and he was talking about how the Cubs don't really have pressure to play. Like, there's not crazy expectations. So they've just been going out there and playing, and that's perhaps one of the reasons you're seeing some of these resurgent seasons for guys like Bellinger. I would also want to point out that the fact that Patrick Wisdom is batting 8th in this matchup is a crime. What? You can, what? 33% K rate for Wisdom this season. Neutralize that by almost half with Michaelis' 18% K rate and Wisdom's 20% barrel rate, meaning any like 20% of his batted ball events are the sweet spot, right? And a 200 plus ISO. Like, this is a dream matchup. That's kind of ignorant that he would be batting 8th like that. But I do think the Cubs are in play. So out of curiosity, see if the Cubs are garnering interest by the field. And then I'm lukewarm on Stroman typically. We are starting to get to the point where maybe the Cardinals aren't who we thought they were, barely above 100 WRC plus to righties. A good slug, good OPS, and not a ton of strikeouts. And Marcus Stroman's not a guy that before this season we looked at for strikeouts. He did add, I believe it was a slider to his repertoire. And yeah, Jesus, even this is about 30% on the slider, which is a super plus pitch. Fastball, slider, cutter, all grading well above average. Same with the changeup. Man, I gotta fix that too. That's so aesthetically annoying. All right. So I guess getting to some Stroman makes sense, right? If we had to name 5 of the better options, I think he's one of them. We just have to asterisk that the field may not be in great condition, right? What are we thinking on his ownership? 10%. I think that's fair. And Cub stacks makes a lot of sense too. So let's go sub stack. We'll create a sub stack column or area, full stack eligible. And then go tier 1, tier 2, and then I'll dress up this worksheet in the spreadsheet. So we'll go Cubs on the sub stack. And Cardinals are interesting, but I think I'd rather one off this particular matchup just because he has such a heavy ground ball rate, right? So we'll do a little Stroman, a little Cubs. Could we full stack Cubs and be okay with it? I definitely think a sub stack writes itself. Belly, Wisdom, Suzuki even. We can probably get the 5. If we can get him at decent ownership, we could probably get the 5 in a full stack. Oh yeah, Jesus, 1%. Yeah, it's not going to cost us much. So I think I'll go full stack on the Cubs. Obviously, we'll do both, but specifically, when I list Substack, it's specifically teams I don't want more than 3 of, you know? Wind's blowing in. Stroman's giving up the most stolen bases. That's actually a pretty good shout. Guess they don't have Tommy Edman or I guess they do have Tommy Edman. He's in the bottom of the lineup. That's a good shout. Still got to get on against him though. Wind's blowing in at Wrigley. That's another plus for Stroman. Roof open in the desert. Chase Field. All right, that's good news. Good shout. Let's matriculate on. Royals in the Sox. So Labs has a red on this game for a rain indicator. Actually, it's indicating heavy rain. But Roth doesn't have this game mentioned, right? So we'll see if he adds it. If not, we'll keep an eye on that. Bobby Witt, Pasquantino, Salvi, Melendez, Edward Olivares, Prado, Garcia, Massey, and JBJ as projected. Don't have a White Sox lineup yet. We got Dylan Cease taking on Zach Greinke. Man, look at this White Sox bullpen bullpen plus stats. These are terrible. Have they really been that bad? That's crazy. Like really? Go look at that. Pitching stats. Team stats, pitching, let's go relievers. And then let's go by WAR. It looks like they would have a negative WAR based on what I just read. Chicago has the second worst bullpen WAR in baseball. Wow. They really are struggling, huh? What's their home run per nine? A 165 home run per nine? Wow. There is a White Sox lineup out. Appreciate that. Let's see. There is Tim Anderson, Benintendi, Andrew Vaughn, Luis Robert, Gavin Sheets, batting fifth, Yasmani Grandal, Hunter Alberto, Elvis Andrews, and is that Adam Hazley? Alright, appreciate that shout. So White Sox are essentially as projected. I think Hazley was the difference. So yeah, I guess White Sox with that bullpen make me interested in the Royals, and it's hard to like think of Dylan Cease as bad, but he has not been great this season. A 4.56 expected ERA, 1.4 on the WHIP, 4.36 Sierra, barrel rate pushing 10%, and his K percentage has dropped to 4%. His swing and strike rate has dropped to 12%, which is actually like, these are still two decent numbers, but he hasn't been able to put it all together, and his walk rate is elevated, 11% to righties, 12% to lefties. So let's go look at his game by game, see if he's even trending in the right direction. But Cease used to be like one of those auto clicks, right? And now it's just like, whoa. Him, Corbin Burns, like there's a couple guys that were elite and now have been struggling. Let's go batted ball xFIP. Dude, he's had 2 games with a solid xFIP. First game of the season against the Astros, I wouldn't even say that solid, but the Twins hit a 3.9. So it's been kind of a rough go. 40% ground ball rate, still elevated line drive rate. And then this is concerning, a 9% barrel, 52% hard hit rate. So probably expect him to find it again, but yeah, I wonder what the key to his turbulent start is. So I guess if we want to believe that Cease isn't untouchable and that bullpen is one of the worst bullpens in baseball, I guess naturally we'd have to consider some Royal stacks, a pretty economically affordable stack once you get past Bobby Witt on DraftKings. Do we want to go 5 or 3? Let's go sub for now, and they might turn into a full stack later. On the other side, White Sox against Zach Greinke. Greinke just super contact pitcher, right? We don't really need to dive too much. He has not been a strikeout guy, been a big contact guy and a big power guy this season to both sides of the plate. So decent ISOs here. The White Sox overall have a bad WRC plus against righties, but bad pitching gets beat by bad hitting, and I don't even think the White Sox are that bad. They haven't been full strength, and they haven't been performing. The White Sox, the Cardinals, the Yankees, there's a lot of teams that are underperforming versus expectation, but there are some really good names that I would draw in, so I'd probably get to a full stack. So let's go full stack. White Sox, and boom. What up, yo, Elvis? What happened to Dylan Cease that opened the season again? Exactly. Greinke's a lot better at home than away with KC. I mean, yes, but it's not like he's good at home, right? He could be better than he usually is, sure, but he still has a 19% K rate. Does have a sub 4 xFIP. a 0.4 home run per 9 allowed, but a line drive rate is still super elevated. So might be a park thing. Let me fix that. But I'm not ready to say he's not good at home, we'll say, right? He's less bad. Is that fair? I want pitcher home. Let's go K percentage on the road. So I will get there, and then the Royals bullpen's bad too. So both bullpens have a chance to let this game unload. So I'm not really interested in either pitcher. I guess if you want to take a shot on Cease and expect him to find it, it's not even a high strikeout lineup, right? Melendez, Prado, Massey, sure, but nothing. Nothing I want to get crazy about. What is the field thinking? Cease. It's only 13%, so people have ceased playing Dylan. You like the Yankees today? Yeah, I like the Yankees. The Athletic starter's not good. Their bullpen has been atrocious, so I'll get to them pretty liberally. The field likes the Yankees too, though. Yeah, maybe the White Sox can turn it around. Let's go Dodgers and Brewers. Dodgers lineup is Mookie, Freeman. I'm not even going to say nothing. Anytime I do say something about Jason Hayward, he homers. Every time. Like the fact that he's batting in front of Muncy right now. Holy lefties, Batman. Miguel. That is a lot of lefties in a row right there. Freddie Peralta. 3.7 expected ERA, 28% K rate, 14% swing strike rate. So big time swing and miss stuff. We can kind of lean on his lefty splits. And this season, a 4+ xFIP against lefties, 26% K rate, high walk rate, elevated line drive rate, and elevated, I would say elevated, but higher fly ball rate than ground ball rate. So I think Dodgers are always a team I want to get behind, but it's certainly a bad, not a super plus matchup. I wouldn't say bad matchup, but the Dodgers are the Dodgers, right? I like the full strength version of this team. There would be at least a substack just betting on talent. Freeman, Mookie, Outman, Muncy. I mean, that's the four. And then if you want to spin the wheel, make a deal on one of these other guys. So I'll go at least a substack. They have a 4-3 run total. Miller historically was played a little bit more lefty friendly, right? For power. So let me go Dodgers in the substack category, and we'll see from there. Gonsolin at 4.35 expected ERA. ERA's outperforming the expected ERA in the CR pretty dramatically. A 1.5 whip, just 11% K rate. Only 8 innings though, so willing to expect him to be closer to last year's sample size. We'll see what's the hold up. Plate discipline. Increase the cease. I mean, guys like that, we saw a spot earlier this season where Burns was, the field gave up on him. So if they drop in ownership and you think they could find it, you don't have to give up as much equity as you would historically have to be there. So if you're at 15 to 20% cease because you think he's got it, and his, like we said, it's kind of like, was it last year? Lucas Giolito, he was still getting hit hard, but there was still like a 25% K rate there. So it was like there's still a range of outcome where the strikeouts thrive. So it's not a 0% range of outcome that Cease is a grid play tonight, right? Let's go back to Gonsolin. 2 games for Gonsolin. So let's just look in the... Might be limited at pitch count for only 2 games, 80 pitches in that last start. So Pittsburgh and Philly, that version of the Pirates was a tough one so far this season, right? Didn't give up an Ernie, and then Philly's a tough matchup. 5 hits, a homer, 3 Ernies. I don't think there's any reason to play Gonsolin ever. But do we want to get to some Brewers is the question. This season, Gonsolin's lefty splits has been dramatically bad, but it's probably been amplified by a very low sample size. So if we expect him to go back to last year's metrics, not a lot to get excited about. So I might just rotate one-offs here. Willie Adames, Rowdy Tellez, William Contreras, probably the 3 most interesting. Possibly even a Substack candidate. Yeah, we'll do it. Substack. I'm gonna add it to the... We'll go. Is the spreadsheet down? No, hustle. So this morning when I soft launched it, when I went to edit the page at Run DFS, the VIP portal, I just got the loading spin of doom. So if you're in the Discord, this tab right here, the spreadsheet links, there's a link to that. Hopefully after the stream I'll try and edit it and get it back. But it is a new spreadsheet, so I just needed to update links, and for some reason they wouldn't let me in there this morning. Brewers lineup is out. Winker batting second. All right, we can fix that while we're here. Yelich, Wanka, Adames, Rowdy, Contreras, Brian Anderson, Turing, Taylor, and Weimer. So as projected. You think it could be a strength of schedule thing for Cease? It's still like the advanced metrics shouldn't. Yeah, it has been a tough go of it. Jesus. Minnesota a few times, they're pretty solid. Tampa a few times, they're like, some would say the best team. I wouldn't say, but some would say the best team in the AL. Baltimore's a tough matchup, so yeah, I'd give them that. But I mean, this was an elite pitcher. Those elite pitchers are supposed to still do well in the tougher matchup. So if you're trying to create reasons to forgive and forget and still get behind a really good K rate and a really good swing and strike rate, I mean, it's there for C. So I certainly ain't faulting you there. I think at 10%, at 150, I at least match that, right? And then Peralta, what do we do with Peralta against the Dodgers? One of the higher strikeout potentials on the slate, but just a really tough matchup. So I would say if the field will use them less than 10%, then I will also try and get there. But let's take a look. Peralta 17%. So the field's a little bit more ready to pick on the Dodgers than I thought they were. But I guess at the same time, it's not like a super deep pitching, right? A couple of these guys are in tougher matchups. In my opinion, I feel like Zach Gallen should be 60% owned, and he's 30%, right? And then go from there. And the fact that he's half of what I would initially put him at is kind of crazy, because he's really good at pitching. And it's the Marlins. But I guess you guys said the roof's open, so sure. But Gallen, I'm sure, is pitched with the roof open. Rays are the clear best team. Debatable. Rays barely beat the Yankees taxi squad, so I ain't trying to hear it. Got a message from my homie. He said Red Bull June Berry is really good. I'm not a Red Bull guy. I'll take his word for it, right? Astros and the Angels. Astro. Yep. 4.8 run total for the Astros, 4.4 for the Angels. Sandoval versus Hunter Brown. That's a fun matchup. Sandoval this season a 4+ expected ERA, 1.27 on the WHIP. 5 on the Sierra, severely outperforming these numbers. And an 18% K rate? Really? Really? That's what I'm talking about, Cam. Can't nobody touch a healthy Yankees. We won't see a healthy Yankees this season, but if we did, can't nobody touch them. Dude, I'm starting to think Carlos Rodon won't even pitch this season, man. They said he has a back injury, but it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't feel right. And it's chronic. Oh, okay. And Frankie Montas is pretty much done. And then Tommy Kahnle, and then Lou Trevino done. You know what I mean? It's just like so frustrating. But I guess the Rodon thing is kind of self-inflicted. You kind of knew that he had a history of this nonsense. For Sandoval, 12% swing and strike rate. Is that right? That's what I got. So he's not converting strikeouts, even though his swing and miss stuff isn't like terrible. And his called strikes even higher than last year. So the same as last year. So losing about 1 to 2% so on the swing and strike rate versus last year, but somehow also losing about 4% on the K rate. So what's he not finishing? Lefties, apparently. Jesus. He went from a 24-27% K rate to lefties to a 9.5% K rate with a 10.4 xFIP. What's the sample on that? Oh, it's only 2 innings. So perhaps that'll adjust. What's his strikeout rate to righties? 19%. So still losing 4% there, but that's interesting. Let's go batted ball data. Ground ball rate still where it should be. 7% barrel. 25% hard hit rate. That's kind of low. It's a good sign. And then 239 BABIP. So he's actually kind of lucky with the walk problem. So this is a Astros lineup that doesn't project as big strikeout guys against lefties, and Sandoval is bringing in a walk issue. Has an 8% walk rate to righties this season, but that number's been 10+%. So it's gonna be a tough spot for Sandoval. And this is a Astros lineup with a lot of 200+ ISOs against lefties. So yeah, I think we're getting to some Astros stacks. The Angels bullpen is solid, but if this goes like Sandoval implodes and then you bring in like Yami Barria, let me see if Yami's been used lately, then I love the spot. So Barria pitched 58 pitches on Friday, so maybe he would be available, but it's not a lock. So we'll get to some Astros. And then inversely, Hunter Brown. Let's go pitch report on him. Plus cutter, plus curve, plus change. Barely uses it. Really low barrel rate so far. That's impressive. 11% swing and strike rate, 25% K rate. Overperforming a little bit to his metrics, but I still think he's going to be good. He's one of the youngsters that projected well in the minors. So there's a tougher Angels lineup, but there are some strikeouts to be had. Why is Rengifo not popping? Rengifo. There he is. I feel like I would want to get to some if it's a reasonable ownership. Is that 3%? Yeah, I'd probably be there. I could get there. Hunter Brown. So Astros. And then we'll probably always substack the Angels if Ohtani, Trout, and whoever's in the lineup. That's how I'll approach that game from this far out. Hunter has not allowed a homer yet. Pretty solid ground ball rate. A little bit of a walk problem to lefties. Only 2 or 3 lefties in this lineup projected. So we can focus on those righty splits a little bit more, with almost a 30% K rate. Elevated average allowed to Hunter. Let's see what the BABIP is on that. Because that's also with a high ground ball rate. I know ground ball, I guess he also has a high line drive rate. Ground balls become hits, so do line drives. So it probably does have kind of a, let me guess. I would say at 330. It's my guess while we load. We'll go splits. You were at the Trop all weekend? Yeah, I heard they opened the upper sections. And then Randy Rosarina, man. It's unfortunate he got hit on the first pitch twice after posing at third base. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate. I think it was a complete coincidence, if we're being honest. Against righties. A 419 BABIP, so that's ridiculous. That's really unlucky. Parlayed with 269 xFIP. So, yeah, if this lineup comes out righty heavy, we're playing to his strengths and expecting regression on that BABIP. So, I like Hunter Brown. And at 3%, yeah, I'll probably be there at 10% if you're going to let me triple the field. Let's move on to the next game, Marlins and the D-backs. No lineup. We got Braxton Garrett taking on Zach Gallen. Garrett a 6.75 expected ERA, Gallen a 2.56 expected ERA, a 35% K rate this season at home, almost a 50% K rate. Like, this is craziness. So those are the, and then we inversely look at the Marlins, a 79 WRC plus to righties, a 24% K rate. That alone, there's no reason why Zach Gallen shouldn't be the top owned pitcher, in my opinion. That's clearly the best metrics in a plus matchup. Surely, like, the roof being open, yeah, that helps offenses, but man, this is still a great pitcher. So I don't know that the current ownership projection on Gallen will hold up at number 3. But in my opinion, he's the best option on the slate. He actually has the highest projection, right? Yeah. And that alone, like, if you're the highest raw point pitcher on the slate at what, 10 under or 10K, yeah, there's no reason why Gallen shouldn't be our top owned pitcher pre-flop, right? And then what was I even coming to look for? Oh, the home strikeout rate, right? That's kind of crazy. 50%. How many home games? 1, 2, 3 home games. 17%, 18%, 16%. Kind of crazy. So I'm gonna go tier 1 on Zach Gallen because he's that good. Am I missing something? See it like 90 plus pitches. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why he's not projected to be the chalk. Maybe that'll change. What up, Fanatic? Hope you're doing all right. Because I'm a Fanatic. Fanatic. Who knows the rest of those lyrics? Braxton Garrett against this D-backs team. Gonna have a bad time. 4.21 xFIP to righties, 372 average allowed, 186 home run per 9. So D-backs look like a really fun stack here. D-backs about league average in WRC plus against lefties, but I'm willing to look past that and focus on some OPS, some ISO, some low K rates. This is what? Ketel Marte, Emmanuel Rivera, Christian Walker, Longo Dongo, all in aggregate of 200 plus ISO against lefties, so that's good. And then a lot of 800 plus OPSs. So it's a really good spot, in my opinion, for the D-backs offense. So probably one of my favorite stacks pre-flop. If we can get them low owned, and you know, a lot of interest in the Yankees so far in terms of ownership projections. The D-backs, that's reasonable, right? It's not unowned, but it's reasonable. D-backs seem like my favorite stack. So we'll go D-backs, Diamondbacks. And I'm really not that interested in the Marlins. If you want to one-off a couple of these power guys, Chisholm, Jorge Soler, wouldn't fault you. That's how we run that. Isn't like that like Boosie or something? No, it's a it's a old Christian rap song from when I was a young lad. Can you briefly explain the ballpark metrics and what's considered as good or bad? Yeah, sure. So I'll tell you what, the best way to do this, to explain it, and where I grab my ballpark stuff here, if you look at the spreadsheet, if you guys are subbed, see the ballpark metrics here. So basically it's the same as all the plus metrics, where 100 is the baseline, and anything below 100 is negative, or above is positive. So in this instance, Chase Field's actually 18 below 100 in home runs, but that's because when you put the roof on, it's a pitcher's park. It didn't used to be that way, but then they added the humidor and blah blah blah, right? So what I would say is go look at it's on Baseball Savant. We'll do let's just Google Baseball Savant park factors. And obviously you guys know that not every baseball field is built the same. And then if you paid attention to the Mexico series, you know that even the environments are not the same either, right? There's games at sea level, games above sea level. This is the, I'll put this in chat. This is the StatCast Park Factors tab at Baseball Savant. So the default presentation is a 3-year rolling sample. And essentially, you'll see that Coors Field, Great American Ballpark, Fenway, all these parks play super hitter friendly. Usually these are parlayed with shorter dimensions, wall to wall, wherever. D-backs is a little bit more neutral, but they're exactly neutral. Man, I wish there was a split to where the roof open and roof closed, but obviously when the roof's open, it's going to play better. If you're hunting home runs, the Great American Ballpark has been the best park for homers, guaranteed rate field. And some of this could also be, since it's a couple year sample size, could be parlayed with the pitching staff. But generally, it leads you in the right direction. You can also use this in terms of splits, and this is something I've debated about putting into the bomb detector. You can look at how parks play for lefties and righties. So with the lefty on the bump today for the D-backs, I guess that's not fair because it's still not dealing with the roof. But you could sort, what's the more homer-friendly parks for righties, right? So just remember 100 is league average, and then above is greater, and below is net negative, right? So the most pitcher-friendly park overall update, it's usually Oracle, but they did make some adjustments the last couple years, so we'll see if it still holds up. I could see Citi Field, Oakland being up there as well. T-Mobile, really? Padres, Athletics, yeah. So or the Giants have actually become more league average, but for homers, they're still pretty rough. So the worst homer park is Detroit. Comerica is it's a black hole out there. Athletics, Royals. So a lot of this makes sense. So sometimes where you see bomb detector liking some matchups in KC, you gotta realize Kaufman might eat a couple of those warning track flyouts, stuff like that. So check that out. Maybe bookmark that, dig around a little bit more. Hopefully that helps. Alright, I'm not that interested in playing Braxton Garrett, so we'll move on. Rangers and the Mariners. I think both lineups are not out yet. 3.4 run total for the Rangers, 4.3 for the Mariners. John Gray's not been great, 6.18 expected ERA, 1.4 on the whip, 14% K rate, just not where you want him to be. And then Logan Gilbert's been pretty solid, almost a 30% K rate, 2.8 expected ERA, 3.18 Sierra. So him and Zach Gallen project as the best two actual pitchers for me. I think it's fair to say that Zach Gallen has the better matchup. The Rangers team WRC plus 120. We just talked about some ballpark factors, how T-Mobile plays a little bit more pitcher friendly, so maybe that'll neutralize some spots here. And then the Rangers, some of this glory has been for some hot games at home. So I do like the overall K rate potential here for Gilbert. So I think Gilbert and Gallen are probably going to be the two guys I want to get to the most. Gilbert is not as low owned. I don't even say Gallen's low owned. He's just low owned for what I would immediately place him at. He's the number 2 in ownership. It just feels like Nestor Cortez is kind of overvalued here at 46%. Like I want to play some, but Jesus, half the field. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know if I got that much confidence, but I don't know. So I do want to get some Gilbert. I think this is kind of a scumdacker spot where I'll probably get to some Rangers just because they've been pretty solid. And it's a little bit of leverage versus a chalky pitcher. I definitely would get to a sub stack. We might consider a full stack as we keep going. And then John Gray. Let's go look at his game by game here. Had a little bit of injury, came back, still not sharp. J-Rod, France, Kelnick, Eugenio, Cal Raleigh. I mean, I love this lineup. I think the Mariners are like my new Cardinals. And the Cardinals are still the Cardinals, but it's a team that I love pre-flop. They just look like a great team for DFS sake. And then you like don't come through as much. Only a 78 WRC plus against righties. Certainly not to what you want. I do like him more against lefties anyway, but still, I can't quit you. 9% swing and strike rate. He hasn't had a double-digit swing and strike rate since April 15th. Batted ball data, super high xFIP. Line drive rate's a little elevated. What's the StatCast giving us? I think I'll stick to the guns though. I'll get to some Mariners full stacks. Rangers bullpen hasn't been terrible either. Yeah, it'll be a lower owned stack, right? I don't have to give up too much. We'll be alright. We'll be alright. I'll commit. We'll commit. Bonds have been hitting Oracle this year compared to the rest of the stadiums. On the year 6, small, but global American family. So, yeah, and then again, the sample size is key. But Oracle is one of those parks that have made a couple of adjustments in the last couple of years versus historical. Oracle used to just be like, yeah, that's a death trap for offense. Right only. Night only. Wait, what? Oracle is the rest of the stadiums. On the year, it's 6, small, but Globe Life, American Philly, Angel Stadium, Yankees, Reds at night only. Are you saying the Reds have only played night games? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you just look at the dimensions, right? If you're trying to hunt power, Great American Ballpark is never not going to be one of the top parks for homers. It's just, it's a bandbox, right? It's is what it is. Giants and the Nats, last game of the docket. Let's take a pause for the cause. If you guys want to hang out with me after the party, it's the Discord party. Go to rundfs.com, grab a membership, and so I know that we were home runs after 6 p.m. games. Bro, who's doing that? That's an insane stat. Is that actually track, Chuck? Is that like a savant ballpark split time of day? Like, is that because if they do that, then you would think that somebody's tracking Chase Field with the roof open. Hey, I tell you what, so we took down the promo for advertise, but it's still active. So if you guys are hanging out, it's about 90 of you still wanted to take advantage of a 20% off discount. Don't tell nobody, but it's still active. So if you go to any of these memberships, coupon code DONG, D-O-N-G, it'll get you 20% off the sticker tag. So the baseball season, $239, and then you could rebate that down to $139 by taking advantage of a $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher And that is good for every pass. So coupon code DONG still active. Probably need to deactivate it tonight, but whatever. Who cares? Take advantage of that. What do we need to do here? That's it. No plugs. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Discuss the final game of the slate. Mason Miller to be evaluated for elbow tightness. Well, that's not good. Got him in season long. Jake Irvin taking on Anthony Desclafani. 4 innings for Jake Irvin so far. 4.5 expected ERA. So I guess he's a kid. We got to go look at his minor league pedigree. Can't imagine we're ever going to play him today. But in terms of picking on him. Minor league career, 3.8 ERA, 274 innings, 255 strikeouts. So been a contact guy. Whip's always been elevated, 1.2 or greater, 1.5 this season. 5 starts in this season with a 5.64 ERA, 20K. So nothing great. Let's go individual game logs just to get a feel, and then we'll go to the splits. See if he suffers more so to one side than the other. Couple 5-inning outings, couple 1 home run outings, but man, the elevated whip is crazy, and it does look like he has a walk problem. There's 2+ walks and all but 1 start with 5 or less innings, and then almost a hit per. So yeah, this guy doesn't look like he's anything to shake a stick at, right? And then elevated average to righties, still a 1.5 whip. Ground ball pitcher to righties, but still 2 homers. So yeah, this guy's not it's not good. And he's played more as a contact pitcher, right? 5 Ks, 9 innings, 15 and 12. So more strikeouts against righties. Giants have been a strikeout team, a big strikeout team. But we're not getting to Irvin. So because of that alone, probably going to get to some Giants. So we'll start with the sub stack. We'll see if we want to turn it around and make it a full stack when the official lineup comes out. But the Giants are one of the more frustrating teams to full stack just because Gabe Kapler likes to okey doke the lineup halfway through. And then Desclafani on the bump against the Nats. So Nats are usually a team that play a little bit pesky, about a 19-20% K rate this season against righties. 76 WRC plus. 8,100 is a tempting tag. NGL. 23% K rate to righties, 18% to lefties. So I don't really have a warm or fuzzy feel on that. Like, it's not necessarily I want to pick on him, but is it an upside spot for him? 11% owned. I don't know. Get me over 20 isn't out of the question. So pretty much all of these games except the Mets game, I guess I would allow. So I guess if we throw him in the bottom end of a tier 3, just to diversify. Sure. And then Nats. One-off Nats. Anything? Nothing screaming at me. Only Joey Meneses has a positive WRC plus against righties. And that's that. What up, Tyler? Can Jesse Winker ever rediscover his form as the Cincy days? Hey, those Cincy days was perhaps a product of the ballpark. Remember he had a 4 home run game? Y'all remember that? That was crazy. Love Disco Stew here. Nat's terrible and ballpark is excellent. I think his price is fine. Right? And I also think there's like a decent range of outcomes that he outscores Nestor Cortez. And Cortez is super chalk. So love is a strong word. Just because I don't know how often like he blows them away with massive strikeouts, but there are some strikeouts in the lineup, and like 23% to righties. His strikeouts to lefties have not really been a thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 5 lefties. So I'm just like super lukewarm, right? I don't necessarily think he's gonna die. Throw him in the back end. Castellanos too. There's a lot of people that were goated for the Reds, and then you put them somewhere else, and it's just like, what happened? Remember that? Was it Jay Bruce had that year? And then like he got traded to the Giants, and it was just like you go from the best hitters park to the worst, and you expect, you know what I mean? Todd Frazier. Yeah, there's a lot of. He should not get enough love tonight. You don't think so? I mean, let's just look at all of the hitters, huh? So how far are we got to scroll down before we get to an Astro? Pretty decently. Bregman at 13%. Yeah, it doesn't look like Houston's grabbing a lot of aggregate ownership. 9%. So I do like Houston. Houston was one of the main stacks that I nominated. Seven innings. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy, Shannon. You can play that. That's our slate. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns? Anything to throw at me? Let's look at the bond detector. You know what I noticed when I cleaned up the sample for the bond detectors? Is that there was not a lot of fours. Only Brent Rooker and Cal Raleigh. But at the same time, there's not like a lot of super gas can pitchers. I guess we had Miles Michaelis, who would expect. I guess the one that I am surprised is Patrick Wisdom. I feel like he should have like a 4.3 bond detector rating here, but I don't know. Let's look at his line drive and pull rate against righties. Have you switched over to only counting this year's batting stats? No, I won't do that. I probably won't do that, period. But I have switched it from last 2 years to the beginning of last year. I don't think it's. Like, maybe after the All-Star break, I would consider doing this year only. But I usually like a little deeper sample. Just because there's a lot of anomalaic outcomes, potentially. Or maybe at the All-Star break, we'll cut it from the All-Star break last year, you know? But baseball's a game of sample size. So making the sample size voluntarily smaller, I don't know that. I just don't like doing that. Splits for Wisdom. Let's see what splits against righties are that he's not popping on this new. This righty's got 7 homers. I feel like I would expect his rating to be so much higher. Let's see, line drive rate to righties. 21%, a 52% fly ball. Pull rate's crazy. I'm gonna look at that. I feel like Wisdom should have a ridiculous rating. Maybe I should do this off air. Oh, maybe it's. I guess this wouldn't really matter. But just in case. That was already. I guess the K tax could be getting them. Let's see. Number percent. No, it doesn't really adjust anything. I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. Maybe Michaelis's numbers from last year and bringing it down, since it is a rolling 2-year. But I would expected him to have a ridiculous number. I guess last year Michaelis was more of a ground ball guy, but Wisdom I would expect Wisdom to have one of the highest ratings, but a lot of that is based on this year's numbers for Mike List's ridiculous line drive rates. So we'll keep that in mind. Just have several Nats with positive WRC plus against righties. Maybe my queries are wrong. For the Nats, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pulling the WRC plus since the beginning of last year. I could see them having positive WRC pluses this season. I guess WRC plus might be a little bit more fair to. Even then, I don't know. Let's see, against righties. Qualify. Let's go Nats. And then advanced. Goriel and/or Walker Dong. You like that? There are no WRC pluses this year. Yeah, there are. So Washington. Man, I tell you what, Dennis. Let's see. I did player stats this season versus righties. I guess we can make a 0 plate appearance, but I didn't see anyone other than Jeter Downs. Yeah, no one else has a good WRC plus. So I don't know how you're pulling positives if it's split, unless it's overall. Yeah, Danny, she might want to double check. Let's go active roster. And this is what you see in the spreadsheet since the beginning of last year. I got only Joey Meneses with a positive WRC plus, and that's what we see here. Just Joey Meneses with the W positive. We could look at maybe overall, or maybe you have it inversely. I feel like they might be better against lefties if you just have coding is real fickle, right? So we'll go against lefties, and then we'll look at overall. Yeah, you might have it flipped because there are several with positives from last year to this year against lefties, and then if we isolate it to just this season, I didn't even know Jeter Downs was on the Nats, if we're being honest. Yeah, the extreme WRC pluses. So you might either have it switched, or you just might have overall, which would be full season. That is what it is? Okay. Luis Garcia from last year. Yeah. And then the overalls was... There's a couple. If you just do overall, Robles and Stone Garrett, but otherwise pretty neutral. All right, cool. All right, well then that's what we're dealing with. So I'm gonna go get into crunching some player pools. If you guys want to hang out, get in that Discord. Go to rundfs.com, grab yourself a membership. Got any questions about a membership, DM me on Twitter or Discord. And then maybe we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be scheduled. We'll try and be back tomorrow. Hopefully we don't get no... Dude, the allergies last week were kicking my butt. I mean, I always get the sniffles here and there, but woo, they were getting me. Yeah, decent slate tomorrow night, so we'll try and run it back mañana. Appreciate you guys hanging out. If you wouldn't mind, 3 things: thumbs up, hit that sub button, and tell somebody out there you love them. Hope you guys crush it tonight. Screenshots, I'd love to see them. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.